and welcome back. And today we are flying out the J7W, and this thing is probably the saddest plane at 6.0. And right here you are witnessing the first game that I did in this thing, well, since like 2017. And it's going to set a nice precedent on how I feel about this thing. First things first, we click a guy out of the air at 1 kilometer. And with this plane, it's not uncommon. Of course, you still need to aim decently well, but these guns go about 920 meters a second, and when they do hit, they hit extremely hard. On top of that, you have 4 of them, and they're all very tightly grouped together. So the firepower is extremely nice. Unfortunately, that's kind of where the good things end for this thing. It's not extremely fast, it won't break 600 kilometers an hour on the deck. The climb rate is abysmal, the turn rate, especially low speed, is abysmal as well. Higher speed, it is okay. It's not gonna break any records. It still feels kind of awkward because the twin boom as well as the canards in the front. But these guns though. But again, that's unfortunately the only thing that's really good about this thing. The issue is that even a Narwhal, an SO 8000, is going to end up outrunning you. You can't dogfight anything. You have to make high speed passes, but it's hard to get to high speed because you're not particularly quick. And you don't climb well, so you can't really dive on people either. So you are kind of stuck in this shit zone, as we might call it, because this thing doesn't really have anything to leverage against any of its enemies. 6.3 till 5.7, basically every fighter you run into is going to hand you your own ass. So yes, you are kind of stuck in a shit zone, which is again a synonym for something like mid-map AA, which is something we just happen to be flying over, and there it is, we get hit by it. Keep in mind, this is my first game. We go back to the runway, there's a PB4Y above it. So we go and kill that real quick. Damn, nice damage model. So we go and land. And the second we go stationary. Ah, I see. Yeah, not the most enjoyable starter for that game. But then the game after, look at that. We click someone out of the air again. And suddenly all the serotonins in my brain are suddenly making me happy again. Unfortunately, it kind of just gets worse from here on out. How do you fly this thing? There is no real answer for it. You really just have to position yourself well. You have to know who to engage, when to engage them. And you just have to kind of read the match. Because I can't tell you, fight this guy, pitch up for this guy. Because if I were to tell you, theoretically, I would never go for this 152. But I know, or I have this feeling that he's not going to be paying attention to me. He has someone on his 6. I am below him. And I'm relatively close, so I'm just going to click on him. There we go. However, if he had seen me there, I would have died pretty handily to him. So the majority of today's video is going to be a massive improvisation show. Starting off, we are climbing at our optimal climb speed, which is about 290 kilometers an hour, and the 84 will still be above us. The 84 will also outturn us. So now I have a plane that's superior in the dogfight, that also has more energy, which means that you simply die. However, he's not really paying attention. I noticed this and I'm gonna pull in for a shot. He then thinks, yeah, I want to be in a video, so I'll just pull into the head-on and die on the spot. Thank you, Mr. Sub Alpaca. So we climb away, we kill some other guys in the middle of the map, and then we notice this FU that's relatively low. And when you are in this kind of position, you can actually somewhat work with your plane. Because I'm diving on him, I'm going about 600 kilometers an hour in speed and 540 in IES. So I have plenty of maneuverability and I have plenty of energy. So what do? I do not want to fly over him, because by going sideways he needs to climb for a longer distance before he gets near me. He notices this, he breaks off, which is a smart thing to do. And as he is kind of going slower, he's going for it for a little bit. And then he decides, nah, I'm gonna break off, I don't see him through the clouds anymore. And I'm gonna try and run away. Which is perfectly valid. However, you're going a little bit slow now. So again, we are just going to click you out of the air. Thank you for playing the game. And before we go into the next match, imagine you are an F2G, arguably the best 6.0 in the game, and you face an attacker. What do? You of course full send it into a head-on and die on the spot. Instead of course doing anything but that, because the ME410 is literally a free kill, and I just simply do not get this mentality. I get it with the 84 somewhat. I still think it's dumb because he has the energy advantage, but it's excusable. Since, well, he's an attacker, I am a Japanese fighter, and you don't really see the J7 that often anymore, so a lot of people don't know what these things behave like. And there is something with this plane that makes it even more annoying to fly, because a lot of people do not want to engage you despite the fact your plane is absolute dog shit. Why is that? Because people see a Japanese plane, People know the XP55, and this is a Japanese XP55, or at least it looks like one. And a lot of people will then assume that this thing is extremely powerful and will do everything in their power to take as little risk as possible. Which means that you are just going to die. When you have a Dora on your 6, for example, which is 5.0, doesn't exactly turn very well, but it outturns you, it outruns you, it outclimbs you, it outturns you, it outrolls you. The only thing is that it has slightly slower guns. The thing is, this thing is made out of paper mache, and if you get hit at all, you are going to be a fireball. And there is no buts or ifs about it. So, not only do you have an absolute dogshit vehicle, you also have a vehicle that people are scared of. And I don't know what to tell you, but let me tell you, that's probably the worst combination you can have in this game. When people are scared of you and your plane is already bad to begin with, there is nothing you are going to be doing. You are just going to be sitting there, the guy is going to be sweating his balls off trying to not die to you, when you are just like, man, just kill me already. You cannot do anything. And it sounds pretty funny when you put it this way, but trust me, when you are playing this thing, it's anything but funny. It's desk smashing, dick twisting, diarrhea inducing kind of annoying. You're just sitting there and you're just waiting for the guy to dive on you, and he doesn't. He is gonna be sitting 2 kilometers above you with 90 degrees on you, so you have to pitch up straight up for him. You're already going 400, he's going double your speed, and he will not dive on you. You are in the middle of the map, there is no teammates in the entire lobby, you are the last one alive, and they are still afraid of diving on you. And then, after 15 minutes of him sitting just above you, right there, doing absolute dick all, he is finally going to dive on you, he's going to make one pass, and then he runs back to the airfield. And yes, it did actually happen to me, and I'm not going to be showing it to you, because it's going to take 20 minutes of this video, but trust me, it is not exactly enjoyable. And it sounds alright when I describe it to you like this, when you are just trying to get footage done for this vehicle, you're already not enjoying your time, and then whenever you get a 1v1, an isolated 1v1, and you think, finally, I might get a game, or I might get a singular fight to show off to you people. Nothing happens, because he doesn't want to engage you. The guy had 3 kilometers on me, he turned around to the airfield, and then he lost on tickets. I don't know what to say. I really don't. It's pretty funny. It's kind of a comedic story. Something, if that would happen in real life and Wharton was actually relevant, something I would tell to all my friends. It's a great bar story. However, that's basically where the good things for this thing end again. I got a nice story out of it. I was able to rant my ass off, and I've gotten a few long range shots. But let's get actually into the gameplay, and let's calm down a little bit. Because that's why I left this part in, because I'm just flying and I'm just seeing who I want to engage. And you can tell I'm a little bit hesitant with this thing. But then, whenever you see the opportunity, you need to grab it with both hands. Because if you, midway through, start doubting your attack and you break off at all, you are still more likely to die than if you were to just full send it. So I see multiple 109s on the deck, they're all busy with the F2G. They just killed one of them, so they're all not going that quick. I'm going for the guy shooting at the F2G first. I notice that he's flying into the wrong direction. I notice this guy pitching up, so I'm going to switch targets and click him out of the air. Kill number 1. We go straight back up. They are all still occupied killing the F2G. F2G goes down. Which one do I go for right now? This 109 is pitching in head-on. We shoot at him, we dodge, he dies. Second 109 here, pitches in, he dies. The last 109, who has the highest energy state at this point, is however not fast enough to outrun us currently. So we are on his 6 and we are going to be running him down. The issue with this is, that's all you can do in the game. Because right now I'm going 560 on the deck, which is a little bit slower than my top speed. And you are forced to reclimb. So if there is someone else in the match that has energy or altitude and just sits above you for the rest of the game and doesn't want to engage you, like certain people that we mentioned earlier, then your game is over. That's the issue. You need a team with this thing. And when I say support plane, it's a little bit of a heat-seeking missile. You just kind of shoot it in a group. You try to get as much damage done as quickly as possible. And once you are out of energy, that's kind of it. Unless the enemy is going to ignore you. Unless, of course, the enemy just kind of ignores you at all. then this thing is great. If people aren't aware and you can kind of just zoom into a furball, you can very easily just kill everyone. The guns are extremely easy to aim, the guns hit extremely hard, and on top of that, the plane isn't that bad to get on target either. So you kind of play it like the Narval, the SO8000. If you have played it, it's very similar in that regard. However, the Narval does have an air spawn, but I mean, at the end of the day, they're not gonna be... the altitude difference at the end is not that big. And the second you make one engagement, you're kind of boned. Because the F2G, if you make a pass on it and you break off and you don't kill him within, I think it's 5 seconds, you're done. Because he will just outclimb, outrun and outturn you. And he will do that in the span of about 15 seconds. So if you don't kill him instantly, you are kind of boned. Because you can't dogfight him, you can't run from him, and you can't energy trap him either. If you do energy trap him, he can just pitch up. And you're kind of forced to take the head on, because if you don't, you die. But if you go head on with 50 kills, you also die. So you're kind of out of options. So I chased the FU4B for a little bit, but I noticed that he's flying into 2 teammates. And I'm not going to be flying around with my dick in my hand. I need to do something right now, because my team is down on players. So I'm going to dive on the P51H. So that's the first guy. He kind of moves a little bit. So we readjust our aim. And then we continue on towards our teammates, because I noticed this FU4B is also going slightly up. So we shoot his wingtip off. That's not going to be kill number 2. He's still kind of flying. It's an FU4B after all. So we click him again. And down he goes. Another guy right in front of us. FU4B as per usual. And he's going to turn ahead of us. And notice how low we are getting on energy. We are only going 380 now. But we still have some altitude. So it's somewhat okay. We also have a teammate in the area. But he actually needs to do something. And he does. He kills the guy. So now it's looking a little bit better. However, I need to engage an F8F right here. Because I need to help my teammate. Because I have a feeling he's going to pitch up for the P51. And then get absolutely dick slammed by the F8F. So the F8F actually notices us and he's going to be turning around. We try to pull in. We just aim a little bit too high and we miss. And then we get this problem. The F8F actually loses so much more speed than us and already turns better, that he will simply cut inside of our turn in a singular motion. He won't have to do anything. And what does he do then? He runs away. The C3 comes in. He takes a few shots at him. And he's somewhat in gun range. So I'm going to be shooting. I missed the first shot. And then he starts paying attention. If only I hit the first shot. Because now he's going to be paying attention. And this guy is just going to be camping the airfield. I'm going to be tap firing him for a little bit. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to waste your time with it. But he just runs to the airfield. And he's going to keep camping the airfield. Because every time I try to engage him, he just turns around. And eventually we lose because of that. Fantastic. And currently we are above a 109 and it's a K4. We have a Dora in the area, I think it's a D9, as well as the Yak-3U. And all of these planes are kind of annoying to deal with. I do have a teammate, however, a Ki-84 Otsu, I believe. It's at least a Ki-84, I'm not entirely sure which variant. But the 109 decides to pitch up for us, which is great, because this guy is just simply going to stall out. But you can tell that I can't really turn into him very quickly. So by the time he is stalled out, and because we pick up so little speed, he's already diving out again. And it's very easy to miss this shot. Luckily we don't. We kill him. And then there's a Yak-3U as well as a Dora right next to us. Now especially the Yak-3U, I made a video on it like yesterday or 2 days ago. So you already know that thing is an absolute pain to fly. Or to fly against, I'm sorry. So I'm putting it into a climb right now and I'm hoping one of them takes this bite. Or both of them. Preferably, because right now I have the energy advantage and I need to make this work as quickly as I can. And what does the 190 do? He straight up kills himself. Fantastic. So we go a little bit horizontal. And I can just wait for him to stall. But then I notice that the Yak-3U is turning around. So I'm forced to break off. Because I'm not going to kill that guy in due time. Because the Dora can just pitch up and come straight at me. So I shoot a bit in the head on and I shoot exactly around his plane. Extremely frustrating. And now they've equalized the energy. Just like that. If I was flying the Yak-3U, I'm pretty confident I could take on 4 J7Ws on my own. I did one pass. I dove on him. The guy stalled himself out essentially. and now they are not that lower of an energy state. So I'm gonna wait for my teammate to come in. I have to. I cannot deal with these guys. I can maybe deal with the Dora in the dogfight if he's really bad, but the Yak 3U alone is already a massive task in anything, let alone this. The Dora is already a problem in this thing. So right now I'm waiting for my teammate. There's a Yak 3 on our left as well, probably a Yak 3P. And the Key 4 engages the 190. The Yak 3U, however, is still on R6. So we are going to be extending away a little bit. I cannot help my friendly right now. I need to deal with this Yak 3U and he will catch us. I cannot outrun him. I cannot outclimb him. I cannot outturn him. And he's already on R6. And I can, of course, just dive to the airfield. But we aren't made out of bitches here. So we are just going to try and reverse him. So I'm going to wait for him to close the gap. And the second he starts closing the gap, I'm going to turn. Because then he's going to be the fastest without being much faster than us. So now I want him to make a mistake. I kind of want him to energy trap me. I'm going to turn into his shot once. We dodge it and I'm going to predict his turn. We predict correctly and then he just kind of flies straight. He notices a little bit too late. Way too late actually. And down he goes. Yak 3U gets set on fire. And that is going to be that. Here's another game. F2G's in the middle of the map and they will always be above you, don't worry about it. So I like to just kind of sit on the side. Now don't worry, you're not going to counter my gameplay. Because you're not going to be seeing me in this thing. Not anytime soon anyway. If you do donate me money to fly this thing, I will just refund it. Don't bother, it's not happening. I just made a video on it, I'm not flying it again. So right now I'm just waiting for the F2Gs to start engaging people. Because if I don't, I can climb all day long. But I need to third party them. Because if they are paying attention to me, unless I get the first shot in, I'm just done. I'm just going to die. So I'm going to put this into a little bit of a climb. And I'm trying to go around the map. I noticed the F2G that's coming in secondly, however. And he is very much looking at the guys right ahead of him. So I'm just going to take the risk. Because I still want to get some kills in this match. I might play it relatively safe. Because this plane is absolute dog water. But I also want to get some kills, because if I don't, I can't make footage. So I'm flying straight. I'm not climbing into him. And why is that? Because I'm just trying to close the horizontal gap. And if he then goes for me, I actually have some energy to work with. Because if I'm going 1 or like 200, 300 kilometers an hour into him, and he notices me last second, I'm done. There's nothing I can do. I mean, I can't do anything anyway. But at least if he's dumb, I can do something. Whereas if I'm already going 300 kilometers an hour, I'm essentially just dead. So this guy, completely oblivious. He starts noticing us just last second. But he goes vertical for some reason. So we just click him out of the air. And now it opens up our possibilities a little bit. Because we have 3 guys directly below us. I have an 4 guys actually. We have an F2G coming in from behind. But he's being engaged by someone else. So I'm going to help out my team, because you need to get the snowball rolling with this thing. The second you need to carry, your game is essentially over. Unless, of course, you fight literal paid actors, which happens to be the case pretty often nowadays. But his F2G turns the right way, for us anyway, and we gun him down real quick. We then have the 2 guys on the deck here, 2 F2Gs. We are going to be diving after them. But there pops up an FU4B right behind us. Currently, however, we are going 860. He is not going to be catching us. And at those speeds, it kind of becomes a brick. The elevator authority is alright. And you can tell, 10 Gs at like 900 kilometers an hour. That's fantastic. The other controls, however, are not really that responsive. But you can't really ask a plane to start rolling, or a World War II plane to start rolling at 900. That's a little bit excessive. So we turned back around. We missed a guy, unfortunately. But we lived to fight another day. And notice right now, I was going 900. And I'm going 500. Notice how quickly that speed is just completely vanished. Gone, reduced to atoms. So I noticed the F2G coming under us. So we're just going to line it up and click him out of the air. Last guy gets cleaned up. And that's essentially all I have for you today. Sorry it was kind of ranty, but this plane, well, can get a giant fist up its ass. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you all again in 1 to 2 days.